Welcome, everyone. We call the meeting to order. Roll call. Victor?
I'm here.
Garrett? Here. Ron? Here. Okay. Okay, we have a quorum. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from the October 24th meeting?
Yes.
Yep. I would accept a motion to approve if there's.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Financial reports.
Current fund balance is $748,643.27. We have one claim for Stone Municipal for $2,600.
I would accept a motion to approve the financial report.
Motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Any all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Do we need a motion to approve the payment? New business.
Mr. Stone, are you sharing your screen on this?
Yep, I will be. Can you all hear me?
Yes. If you guys want to sit over here, you can see the screen.
Let's see. Okay, we've got a couple things on your agenda today. We've got the annual presentation to units as well as the new annual spending plan. So let's see. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Well, happy Friday to everyone. I hope that you're all getting geared up for Thanksgiving. This is the last annual compliance obligation the Redevelopment Commission has this year, outlined in state statute, and it's relatively new. This came out maybe four or 5 years ago or so. It came out of some of the transparency concerns with redevelopment commissions, specifically from schools, counties, etc. And state legislators amended the law to add a new reporting requirement of redevelopment commissions to provide an annual presentation to these taxing units. So they have been invited. The clerk treasurer assisted with that, and this has to be conducted annually at a public meeting. Also, I'm going to cover what is laid out in this. For some of you, this is the second or third time you've seen a presentation like this. For some of you, especially if you're a newer member or you're newer to TIF or RDC, it's intended to be somewhat of a 101 as well. The other item I would say is state statute also requires that upon request, we would come give a similar presentation to the fiscal body of any of these overlapping units. We actually did that this week on, not specifically for the city, but we had another community's school district requested that we come and do that. So that's all outlined and it's intended to just make sure that everybody is communicating. So with that, I'll go ahead and kind of walk through this. The state statute is unique in this, and a lot of the clerk treasurer can likely attest to this. A lot of financial compliance items is really sort of a black and white issue. Like, for example, uploading bank reconciliations. Well, the bank is either reconciled or not. So it's pretty easy to clear. Some of the requirements, this one, for example, is unique in that the state statute really just outlines 3 specific things that have to be a part of the annual presentation, and then provides a lot of flexibility and autonomy at the commission level to sort of decide how much more or less they want to share. There's also not a specific due date other than it just has to be done once per year. So we have sort of adopted sort of a late in the year, like a fall presentation. The reason being is that if we do this, and a lot of communities do this in like the July meeting, the challenge that we have had with the July meeting is, as the mayor can attest to, a lot of the budget estimates and planning estimates aren't even available yet. So we have better information later in the year. So what we typically recommend is that usually that like November, December meeting as kind of a preview of the incoming year is a good approach, and actually allows for better information to be shared, because we have certified AVs now for 2026. We have project plans have come together. You might even be working on some projects for 2026 at this point in the year, whereas like earlier in the year, it would just be more hypothetical. So as well as those other units have been able to get through their budgets and plans as well. So the three requirements are the commission's budget, how is it funded, any long-term plan updates or changes to the allocation area, and then an overview statement with respect to the impact. This is all governed by Indiana Code 367258, and as I said, there's a lot of flexibility. So if the redevelopment members would like additional information, or if over time there's requests for additional information of the taxing units be included in this, statute allows for that sort of flexibility if the commission is willing. So, step one of this is really just getting an overview of kind of how the commission makes money. And, the majority of sources here, the majority of revenue that for why the Redevelopment Commission exists is to generate and create incremental property tax revenue. So the classic example here is this sort of base, this kind of picture over here, where you have sort of the base AV during the life of the area. The Redevelopment Commission, through project agreements and investments, create projects that increase new construction and increase assessed valuation in a given area, a declared area. And that is captured for a maximum length of typically 25 years. The whole economic theory here is really simplified down to sort of a two-pronged test. One is, would the investment come but for the Redevelopment Commission's interaction? So, the common example of like an economic development revenue bond backed by TIF revenue used to reduce the cost to construct a new building, make that building economically feasible to be built in a specific area. That would be an example of passing something that would otherwise, but for the TIF, would likely not have been built. The second is, does that then create new tax base long-term for the community at large, meaning that really these are special taxing districts. They exist for only a short period of time, and eventually they expire. All of that assessed value that was once captured to repay the TIF bonds or the TIF infrastructure, and execute the kind of projects in that area, ultimately expires. 100% of it passes back through to the underlying taxing units, and they have a larger, more diversified tax base long term. Some of the common things that we have seen and heard over the years on this is that TIFs mean that a school doesn't make any money over the next 25 years, and that's probably an overstatement. There's a couple things. One is this sort of base value. In this simple example, it's sort of held flat. That's actually not the case. It trends up based on trending, normal appreciation. The neutralization process sort of accounts for that and makes it to where normal increases in assessed value are not automatically captured by the TIF. It's really just trying to isolate new construction directly as an impact of what the Redevelopment Commission is doing. That should be captured. Secondly, all of these units have a maximum levy. They have a normal levy that's beyond anything that TIF does. So in that case, it's not impacted at all. The other aspect is the Redevelopment Commission is only looking at property taxes. So any incremental revenues for, let's say, local income tax, utility fees, BMV, excise taxes, student enrollment revenues shared by the state, anything like that are all automatically passed through because they're not captured by the RDC. The other thing I would tell you that I have heard from other communities that I really like here is TIFs really challenge us all to be long-term thinkers. So for example, as long as the Redevelopment Commission is addressing and creating new value that otherwise would not be there to devise and diversify the tax base, this is something that's going to only make the community at large more prosperous in the future. So while it may far exceed a given term, These aren't 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year type projects. These are 10, 20, 30 year long projects. Some of these buildings that get built inside TIFs have 70-year useful lives, far exceeding a 25-year capture period. So it really, when we encourage and advise communities, we had to think about TIF is truly got to put like a 50-year hat on and, do the projects, then still make sense. So AIM puts out some great information on this. We can share this information with you all. There's a little video here that can kind of talk through it, very, very basics, but this is more for sort of resident TIF 101. Looking more specifically at Connorsville, then there's really one big bond outstanding. This is related to the former Wayzata project from 2013. It was an economic development bond that was issued at the time. And 100% of the taxes generated from that TIF area are pledged to repay this bond. It's more than halfway through its maturity. It's set to mature February 1st, 2034. And you can see kind of where we're sitting as of today in that sort of green column, kind of where we have left to go with sort of principal repayment there. So that is the one sort of existing TIF that has incremental revenue coming in. It's 100% pledged to Wayzata. Looking at the commission's budget, so what is new is this new sort of spend plan component. So we have drafted that. That's also on your agenda. It's mirrored here in the presentation, so I won't be redundant. The proposed spend plan for 2026 is $551,625. It's down about 1% year over year. The majority of that is servicing the debt on those Wayzata projects. And then we've also provided just sort of bucketed categories for general spending of the Redevelopment Commission to research, pursue, and execute other projects that come before you. This is really you can think about this as a budget for the Redevelopment Commission and is required to be now reported to the Gateway as part of the process. So that is due by December 1st. So we will need you to take action on the spend plan later in your agenda. And they're able to be amended. They're expected to be amended in some respects. And it's as simple as if it needs to change, we just need to upload an amendment. So that covers the sort of first requirement. Second would be the long-term plan for the areas and sort of the discussion therein. So a couple things. What is sometimes not accounted for or generally known is that in order to establish a TIF area, it has to go through a multi-step public approval process at the beginning. It goes through council, it goes through the area plan commission, it comes back through the Redevelopment Commission, it's subject to a public hearing. All of the taxing units at that point in time are provided a very detailed tax impact statement analysis as well, and made available with copies of the plans. So what we like to educate commissions on is not only the but-for test that needs to be understood and every transaction needs to be held up to that standard. Secondly, we would encourage you to revisit the economic development plans as that were part of the formation of a TIF area early and often. They can be amended. They should be amended over time. It is very rare for one to stay exactly the same for 25 years. Things change, priorities change, communities change in that period of time. So the economic development plan outlines eligible expenses and sort of the intended expenses and projects for why the area exists. So in other words, you can think about it as the charter. It is the sort of mission statement for why a specific economic development area was created. And it's really where the money that is created in incremental revenues should sort of go towards our projects that were outlined in that initial charter. And again, it can be amended. So if any of the taxing units want to learn more about the projects and the sort of the priorities of the area, that is a great document to go to. And as such, then that we would encourage the commission members to be, informed on those as well. So the economic development plan has certain components. These are all the kind of common ones that are in the cities, and And it really is just, the intention here is that these TIF areas and the projects that they are funding are to benefit public health, safety, and morals of the city, increase economic well-being, provide significant gains in employment, increase enterprise and business activity, provide local infrastructure, remove conditions that lower the value of land in the area, and obviously, attract and retain new jobs, increase the tax base, and improve diversity of the tax base over time. So as the Redevelopment Commission is evaluating projects, are not only in requests, not only are they looking to sort of, address that but-for requirement, they're also trying to make sure that a specific initiative is kind of holding true to these initiatives. Excuse me, I've got the dad cold, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. Okay. All right, so Wayzata Economic Development Area is the first TIF. We talked about that one earlier. It's 4 parcels. 100% of it's pledged to the outstanding bond repayment that we showed earlier. The newest TIF area actually has no incremental AV at this time. 2 years in a row, there was growth in the area, but it was all declared to be passed through to the base. So this is the Connorsville Economic Development Area, or Economic Development Area 1. I have all the details listed here as far as the code statute, the resolution, the TIF area, et cetera. And this would be the one that I would encourage the Redevelopment Commission to continue to pursue projects in to sort of jumpstart this one. There is definitely a chicken and the egg situation in TIFs, especially early on. And so finding that first big domino project, that catalyst project within an area to sort of upstart and spark the area is an important strategy component. Common uses. So TIF again is really intended to remove blight and induce development in otherwise an area that is not developing more naturally due to market forces. So the common example would be like an old deteriorated building that needs to be demolished. There's a new commercial user that would love that corner, but it's really not in their building budget to be able to sort of demolish what is there. They would be able to build and operate, their own business if it was sort of a pad ready or available site. That's one example. So in that case, the Redevelopment Commission may be asked to participate or help co-fund demolition of that building, site restoration, et cetera, abatement, in order to, induce that development. More commonly, we see it as, kind of TIF-backed bonds, developer-backed bonds, et cetera, in the construction of either mixed use or residential or industrial projects. Again, trying to sort of lower the cost of development to make a given area or a given site more attractive than elsewhere. So then what you would see as far as expenses of a Redevelopment Commission would be real estate in nature, development costs, infrastructure, planning and design, legal, finance, advertising, publication. Also, TIFs are a special taxing unit. They are their own borrowing issuer. They're separate from the city. They're separate from the county, meaning they don't impact either of these units' normal debt limits. So that creates some sort of unique advantages for financing. And the nature of the repayment source would not be like a general obligation. It would be limited to the new taxpayers. So as a result, there's a lot of administration with respect to sort of bond payments, debt service, et cetera. State statute provides a whole host of other factors. So we would always encourage you to seek legal counsel on anything other than what's listed, but hopefully this helps. As far as the impact to the taxing unit, so we'll start with defining who those are. So the City of Connorsville, Fayette County Community Schools, Harrison Township, Fayette County Library, and Fayette County are some that are overlapping or shared parcel territories of the Connorsville Redevelopment Commission. I keep mentioning this but-for test, but it's really critical to make sure you understand and hold projects to this. So, sort of the common phrasing is, but for the TIF's involvement, this project would not proceed. If that's a true statement, then basically there is no impact because it wouldn't have been here. So, that's why that you'll hear that come up over and over and over again, it's an initial gating test that, you know, needs to be always considered. Once that test is passed, then all of a sudden there's some actual benefits because there's either new jobs, new residents, new utility bills, new excise taxes, et cetera. Because again, the Redevelopment Commission is only looking at property taxes, incremental property taxes. So in that case, you know, lit is tricky nowadays because local income tax has been changed completely with SEA 1. So its impact is sort of far exceeding redevelopment commissions at this point. So we'll kind of table that today. But generally speaking, if the but-for test is achieved, then TIFs are a net positive. And long-term, communities can grow and diversify their tax base and increase jobs as a result. They can be competitive with other communities that are offering TIF. It's in cases where when the but-for test is not passed. So like and that's really where there's, you know, naysayers. Like if you have just kind of areas that are just naturally developing and really aren't needing TIF, then in that case, that AV is otherwise being captured and they would have otherwise just shown up in their normal certified net assessed values. That's not the case here. The last 2 years in a row for the new area would be like a proof of example of how the city is intentionally sort of passing through that sort of trended AV. So I've covered a lot today. This, like I said, is the last presentation for the year. We've covered a lot. The next one that would be at a public meeting would be next, probably March-ish, either the February or March meeting. We'll be working with the clerk treasurer to present the annual financial report for the Gateway TIF management report that's due in April for Gateway. So that'll be all the 2025 items. And generally speaking, these dates will be, if any of these taxing units want to come back and listen into any of these presentations, this is at various points of time that will be on agenda around next year to provide future updates. And, you know, I've tried to do my best to try to educate today, but certainly I represent the city. So I always would encourage us to be balanced. We put out a lot of the links to sort of third-party academic or legal sources that we source and reference our content off of. So in this case, we have the Department of Local Government Finance presentations. That's the regulatory body over the city's redevelopment commission. Their information's out there. Barnes and Thornburg, which is a top legal firm in Indiana, they have a full handbook out there that's sometimes helpful. AIM puts out a ton of information. And then I personally like to nerd out on the academic. So I put Purdue and Indiana on there to try to be fair to both schools there, go IU. But the otherwise, Indiana statute, obviously, for your local council would be great. And then all this information is shared publicly on Gateway via the TIF viewer. And then as always, if I can provide any copies of this report, answer any one-off questions, or make presentations to any of the public bodies that would request it, my email there is at the very bottom, and I'm happy to come on behalf of the Connersville Redevelopment Commission to any of those sessions and do our best. So otherwise, that concludes the annual report to taxing units. I will now pause and stop sharing my screen and open it up to see if there are any questions.
Doesn't seem to be.
Hey, Adam.
All right,
can you-
well,
Adam,
Thank you all for sitting through that.
Can you send that presentation out to us by email?
Yep. I'll send it to Mary and Rosemary right now via PDF and then let them disseminate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, my pleasure. There's a lot in there. I know some of you have sat through that a couple times, so I appreciate your patience. But I would just remind you too, like I said at the beginning, like we can tweak that. So if there's anything that would be more specific or helpful to any of you as members, just comment back and we can add those in preparation of next year.
Okay, thank you, Adam.
Hey, my pleasure.
So what we need to do is improve the RDC financial plan and the 2026 spending plan. But really, that's just covering the bonds. We're not asking for anything more. It's just covering the current Wazata bonds.
That's right. And I'll just need on the back page of that, to signature spot. If someone can just get me a signed scan of that, I'll get it uploaded to Gateway prior to December 1st.
Okay, thank you. So we just need to, you need to call for a motion to approve the 2025 financial plan and 26 spending plan.
I would call for a motion to approve the 25 financial plan and
I don't have it.
Send the whole packet.
No, you just sent the agenda and then the minutes.
The first email and the entire packet.
Yeah.
We'll get
I'll read
it.
out the
Sorry.
entire packet.
I'll get it.
Okay. And also the 2026 RDC annual spending plan. I would accept a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now, do I need to sign off on this, Chad?
Yeah, you have it right there.
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
mean, I've got it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't put it off.
Will this work all right?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, up next, Adam, thank you, sir. If you don't need to stick around, if you don't need to.
Awesome. Well, hey, on behalf of our family, I just wanted to wish everybody an early Thanksgiving. Rosemary, I'll see you at 1 o'clock that day. So make a few extra jars of salsa for me. Okay. See ya. Bye-bye.
See you.
Thanks. Okay, up next, we have the bid reviews. Either came up. We accepted bids at the board of list meeting for the Thomas Toys down here. We had 7 bids total. The first one was Southeastern Indiana Property Maintenance. They were $40,000. You had Frank Construction and Excavating at $48,750. KW Earthworks at $50,000. L Squared at $74,000. Friendly Contracting $89,750. J.A. Schroyer, which I'm not for sure where they're from, $118,000, and Dorn Associates $124,000. One was from Muncie, one was from Michigan. I don't remember which one the last two. So the lowest bid is $40,000. We don't have to take the lowest bid, but I'm fine with that. I want to do a little more research because I've never heard of Southeast Indiana Property Maintenance. They're from Southern, I think, Lowell, actually. Are you familiar with Lowell, Fred? I just want to make sure their insurance requirements are good, and if they meet everything, I'm fine moving forward. That if you guys would like to do that, but I'm staying out of the second bid because that's my family. So, but I'm fine with moving forward with Southeastern Indiana if you guys want me to.
As long as they got their ducks in a row.
That's what I want to make sure.
Did they have everything in their bid packet?
They did have everything in the bid packet.
Oh.
But I want to call them, sit down and have a review with them because that is a tricky building to get down. So it's not going to be easy. I just want to make sure they understand what they're doing before. Because they didn't, sometimes people will call me. I had a couple of them call me before they bid it, but I did not hear from them. So I just want to make sure.
Okay. Do we need a motion to approve?
Yes.
Yeah, I would accept a motion to approve the 624, 626 bid.
I motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
Motion carried.
I will let everyone know after my conversation. I'll try to meet with them next week with my goal. Second item on the agenda. Actually, move on to updates. John and I got these completed. I want you guys to take a look at these. These will be put out digitally as well. This is everything we talked about. I did make a few tweaks and changes, but nothing. You guys want to see what we're talking about? Okay. This is the marketing package that we discussed last week last month for Market Street Plaza. We want to create a nice flyer that was very good print quality. John's very good at designing these. We had them printed outside. And then, so these two go together. So what we want to do is we listed all the different options that we're going to have for Market Street Plaza. And then with option 1 and naming rights, we have a separate form here because I want to start getting this out and receive bids by the end of November. I think February 20th, November, that this month. So that, February, but that gives me reason I put February 20th That gives me about 60 days to get the sign built.
Right.
To get all the tents ordered. There's a lot of printing, a lot of metal cutting that has to take place in installation, so. And we want to do it first quarter. That's when most businesses are doing their budgets and everything for them, so. But I gave two different options here on the title. And the first one is the bid an annual dollar amount paid here for number of specified years. I left it up to the company. I didn't want to restrict that any because some people would want a multi-year write-off. The second option is a lump sum for so many years because some people want to accelerate depreciate or not depreciation, but write-off. But that gives them the ability to do that depending on what their needs are. Other than that, nothing changed other than I did change the number 3. We had some tents on there. I decided to take those off and just leave those at number 2 option. That gives them a 10 by 10 tent with a back wall, and that'd be very nice. The biggest tent will be the sponsor tent. They get a 10 by 20 tent. We left that on there. You guys ready to move? If you want to move on it, we'll get it published to social media. We'll get it published everywhere.
What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna start knocking on doors is what I'm gonna try to do.
I think it looks great. I think it's go.
But first glance outside back there, they've never seen this before.
What's that? I'm sorry.
First glance outside opinion from someone who's never seen this before.
It looks great.
What we tried to do was just talking to businesses. They like every week someone's knocking on our doors wanting something but we'd be nice to have one time that covers all year. So that's what we tried to do.
Great.
I think it looks good. We would accept the motion to move forward and have things ready.
Motion to continue with this marketing and
We have a motion to continue
I'll second it.
and we have a second.
looks great.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I will get
Looks
busy.
good. It's good.
You're done.
I like that.
I need something else to, at least to get me out of the office for a little bit.
You don't have enough on your agenda.
This is the fun
No.
part.
So, last thing I want to hand over to remember Brad is I'm big on branding, big on logos. We got the logo done for Market Street Plaza. I don't know if you saw the 10-foot banners we got there on each pole, but it's got the logo on there. Next thing I want to do is get a logo for RDC. We've been talking about this for a while. We want to put it on the website. Plus, that gives us a little branding of our own. So John created 4 or 5 logos here. I told him to stick with a very traditional classic to kind of a more modern, in case to see what everyone likes. He did a good job with all of them. So I'm just going to scroll through them, let you look at them, and we can go back. And this one here, I like this one. And he's got 2 different ones. So you'll see when I change it, it's just he adds red right here.
Oh.
But he's got several different looks. And then that was, he had 4 done. The reason I wanted this is when we get the plaque built for Market Street Plaza, I want to put the RDC logo on the plaque
Yes.
along with you guys' names. So really just thoughts and input on those, and you tell me which one you guys like, what you like and what you want changed, and we can move forward on.
I like the third one.
I like the red.
The red.
Yeah.
Same here.
Like the first one, but I'll sway my vote.
There's a lot to be said for
That's
simple,
I
but
like it simple and clean, but I'll do whatever.
You're easy.
I don't have to get this as a tattoo, right?
no, you
Yeah.
don't have to.
Oh, okay. As long as it's not
Absolutely.
that, then we're good.
In my opinion, I'm the same as Victor. I always like clean, simple,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
And that last
I
one.
like that.
I
That's
do too.
a little more modern, a little more fresh, and says a lot, and it shows everything we're doing. I kind of like that. Bradley, EDG, what do you think?
I like the first one.
You like the first one?
It's simple, it's easily read. This one's good too.
Mr. Wilson, what do you think? Do you have an opinion?
I'd probably go the first one. This is a lot. It's
Yeah,
there's a lot here. It's cool. I just don't know that I look at it. I know what it is.
Yeah. I appreciate that
I
it's
mean,
got meaning. Like you
it's-
get
yeah.
more than just words, but
I'd probably go
Action
one.
this out, guys. That's what I want to know.
I don't think the first one's bad. I like the gear on this one. The engineer in me likes the gear on it.
That is true. Rosemary, what do you think?
I think this is a good one.
You like this one?
What do you gentlemen think?
Yeah, back there.
I have no opinion.
Just
I don't know. Anytime,
thought I'd ask.
anytime you look at that, no, thank you. I appreciate that. Anytime you look at logos, like you could give 15, 20 different examples.
You do.
I know Brad's getting ready to go through this with our career center, right, Brad?
Yeah.
And I went through that process with him last year and it was incredible. We redid our Spartan Learning, or excuse me, our early college logo. And the things they came up with were incredible. And every time I saw one that I thought I really liked, the next one I liked better.
Yeah.
So it's really.
I like
It was
everything.
that for Reedman Motors too. We have a
Absolutely.
T-shirt of all the logos that were submitted. It took us months to decide. but
Seriously,
our
yeah.
current Reedman Motors logo.
I'm excited in Brad's process to see what our kids come up with. But yeah.
Mr. Hanson, what do you think, sir?
My only problem with the one with the gear on it was I wondered where that building was.
Yeah, I did too, but
Not here.
it's in our imagination.
And I like that one the best, just, it's me.
There's a lot to be said for simple.
Okay. What'd you say, John? What about them? Well, between the first one and, am I not sharing my screen? Okay. The first one and then the one with the gear and the red in it. Seems to be the two they like the best.
What do you think?
Well, voting members, let's go for it.
That's what's cheaper to screen print.
Well, that is true.
You get that stuff.
Are we going your way, Vic?
Quarter vest.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What am I doing
They
here?
could, USLA, look, I can read that from here.
Yeah.
Mhm. If I put on a hat.
You're making your point, Victor. So do you want to do full simple route?
I vote one.
You vote one?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody else?
Yeah, I'm gonna go one too.
Okay.
Looking at the third one again, it's just, staring
Too
up
busy.
it takes you a minute to realize what it is.
Too busy.
I like it, but
I like it too, but it is. I like one. I think I do like them. I love them.
Yeah.
I think for our needs, though, you're right. This one is better.
I would accept the motion to approve number one.
Oh, I'll make a motion.
Do we have a second? Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Hey, John, did you see which one that is, or can you tell?
The simplest one.
He may not be on there now. The first one, it's got the gold on it that says RDC in the middle. That's the one they liked. Okay, perfect.
That was easy.
We're gonna add that to the website. We're gonna add to everything. So actually, that one will be easier to put on a plaque too. All right.
Might have to get a hoodie with that one.
I'd wear that.
I could go for a hoodie.
Okay.
My daughter will steal it, but
Oh,
I've got several
Okay.
company hoodies. They're all
anything
over
else
now.
for us, Mr. Mayor?
No, I got. Well, we did get Casey's approved last night, so that's. gonna be a
Okay,
big-
Casey's has been approved, okay. Bradley,
Well, I want to bring up the hotel again. We continue to discuss it. I know the mayor and I talked about it again the other day. You had a conversation with the,
Not yet. He was supposed to call yesterday, and I didn't hear back, so.
we're working on trying to get it, probably a quote or something to update that hotel study and get it. And did we decide what year that was done?
Yeah, I sent it to you. I didn't look. It was 20.
It's a few years old.
22, I believe. I think it was 22. It's 3 years old.
Will that take into account the Airbnbs that are in town? My brother just started renting his house.
They look at the Airbnbs, but they're really focused on the need for a hotel and what type of hotel and the amenities and everything is what they look at.
He's occupying 3/4 of the year.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Is he doing that daily? Is he doing like a minimum a week? What's he doing?
These guys are renting by the week.
So is he renting to one of the companies in town or something?
Yeah. Yeah. different people occupy it, but they've rented it for blocks of time.
Is it in the city?
It's a decent addition.
So, yeah, we're not trying to create competition necessarily, but the local employers are almost screaming
Right.
for some action on that because they're just having.
I can understand that, but I didn't know whether the study took into account
I'm not sure
Airbnb
if there was.
capacity and availability,
It looked at what we had at the time.
which
I mean,
may
they're looking at all capacity, but
Mhm.
yeah, I'm not for sure. I don't remember. It's 3 years ago I read it, so I gotta remember what it said. But I just called the guy and asked him how for an update and the cost to update it so we can start pushing forward with this.
We've been talking a little bit to a developer about some, a possible location. Been talking to one of the banks about sort of a framework of an idea of what the financing would look like, so we can hopefully get that study updated, put together a framework, and then start, pitching it to people and, looking for investors.
I can see the need. I just wanted to make sure it covers
If
that.
you'd like to be an investor.
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I'm not that flush.
Are we thinking the north end of city?
The hotel study identified that.
Yeah, there were 3 locations we looked at: south side, downtown, and north end. There was 3 identified. The prime location is the north end because of amenities and everything. The secondary location, which he loved, was a downtown location, but that is very tricky. Parking's, it is, and it's very tricky. There's very few buildings suitable for that. So it had to be a multi-building purchase, which can be tricky. So if you're trying to buy several buildings and everyone sells the guy in the middle, you're stuck. So.
Right. It would be neat, but not necessarily cost effective.
Correct. It did identify we needed a pool, which I was kind of surprised. Because the study showed that a lot of people were coming into town and then leaving to go stay in Richmond so their kids can swim in a pool. That one shocked me. But it did show the need for a pool.
Got to entertain kids.
Another thing that I've been putting together that will kick off after the first of the year is we're going to do a workforce development roundtable and a small business entrepreneur roundtable. And I write a column once a month for the newspaper, and that's what it's about. I just gave it to Bob yesterday. So those are exciting things that I'm happy to try to provide some support to local companies and employers. One thing I wanted to ask about and bring up here that's relevant to this body is, do we have a formal loan program? I know it's not formal or official, but do we have funds that we would like to possibly offer as a program to small businesses or somebody? I have a revolving loan funds. We have about 350,000 that we can loan. Those are pretty much tied to employment and job creation. But with our small business roundtable, it might be nice to know if there was a place that could offer $5,000 or $10,000 or maybe $20,000 loans.
Yeah, we've given loans before.
So do you think that's something that we could formally sort of talk to small businesses about? I mean,
I think so.
Did we have an application? I can't remember
Yeah,
how we.
we did. Yeah, we have one. Are they done paying? I didn't even check the golf course.
No, they're still paying.
So we might be able to just create a form and get form.
But I mean, there's also the Discover Cars revolving loans as well.
and I think they're all loaned.
No,
They have some money. Yeah. But I'm just trying to put together resources that we can offer that would help people, especially with entrepreneurial ideas. You probably saw I think we're pretty much decided to offer a pop-up store in the downtown location to try and give people trying to come up with what the rules would be for it. One offer 2 extended. I don't want somebody to try to buy it up for a whole month, but just a place for people to test ideas and see how their product might sell. So we're just trying to put together a bucket of things that we can offer people that would help them and support them. You know, the governor, his program is going to be focused towards small business and Main Street. There was just I posted a video the other day about it. And so I hope that we have more tools in the tool belt to offer local companies that already exist and ones that would like to exist. So, the last thing I'll tell you about, Jeremy, the superintendent mentioned our branding project that we're working on with the school vocational career center students. I'm excited about that. I met some of them yesterday while I was out there looking around, and they're excited to help us give EDG a freshen up. So I don't know what we'll end up with, but I'm excited to work
It'll
on
be a
it.
fun process.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Brandon. Is there anything else for the good of the cause? No? Our next meeting is scheduled for December 19th.
Yeah, that is a week early because I don't think it wants to be on the 26th.
And if there's nothing else, I would accept the motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
You have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, everyone. Thanks so much.